Half duplex homes in Calgary have decreased by about $2,000 compared to last month. Is this the beginning of a slowdown for semi-detached, or was this just a hiccup in the radar? Let's go check it out. My name's Adam Fyfe, your Calgary real estate agent. If you're looking at getting into the semi-detached market, just like every other video, go ahead and click the link in the description. It's the very first one. I promise I'm easy to talk to. Semi-detached homes are always on a roller coaster, and it is very entertaining to watch this craziness happen. So let's start off with this chart here. You can see how high the inventory is getting compared to the sales. When we look back at May 2023, I was actually nervous. You can see that the sales actually outpaced inventory in that month's report, which I believe would have been June 2023 technically. I was saying if this keeps up, we're going to see a skyrocketing in the semi-detached price. Now, fast forward 4 or 5 months, look at the inventory compared to the sales in September. That gap is huge. It is about the same size as what we saw in February or March of this year. So, is this actually a slowdown, or is this a blip like it was in semi-detached properties? Now, before we continue on, I do want to touch on this. For $621,300, people are curious, what do you get for a semi-detached home? Well, for that total city benchmark price, it is a 3-bedroom up, 1-bedroom down, totally finished basement. It is a double attached garage, 1,260 square foot, natural gas furnace. The lot size is about 3,000. It is poured concrete and built in 2005. So when you see the city price, that is roughly what you would get on average in the city. So let's start to look at the CREB written description of what's going on with these semi-detached homes. Now, feel free to pause the video, read it on your own, or skip to the next chapter if you don't care to listen to me read. September reported a boost in new listings compared to sales activity as the sales to new listing dropped below 70%. Which is quite low. For the first time, it has done that since September of last year. So now, finally 12 months, it's done that. 1 month shift supported a monthly increase in inventory levels, but with 295 units available, inventories have not been this low since September 2005. So it's actually quite an interesting dynamic that's going on here. Following 10 consecutive monthly gains, benchmark price in September did ease slightly over the last month. However, at the benchmark price of $621,000, prices are still 11% higher than last year. The monthly pause in price was primarily driven by adjustments in the West and the Northwest districts, which saw the months of supply rise above levels reported last year and last month. So we got to keep an eye out for that West and Northwest. That's basically what's slowing this down. So let's continue on. So I typically jump back to this report here because I do want to touch on it just a little bit more. You can see that last year, actually September to October, you do see a little dip there, but then you also see a little bit of an increase. Now the sales in the inventory were different compared to what they are now. We're seeing quite a bit of sales. If you look at just the sales specifically, you can see that from May to September, the sales have continually slowed down, where the inventory has seen a slowdown from June to August, but then an increase from September. So my argument is, did a lot of investment properties come on the market in September? I did talk about that last month, asking how many investment properties are going to come back on the market because the market is so hot. I would imagine the semi-detached market is very well known for investors to purchase properties because it's not a condo and it's not as much as a freehold or single family house. So the September number, this doesn't actually surprise me. I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit more in other product types as well, but semi-detached is the most noticeable, and I would argue that that's the reason that is happening. So looking at year-to-date sales, you can see that we're not quite at the same level as we were in 2021 or 22. We've actually are pretty much on pace with 2014, which is the last time we've seen a very hot market. But you can see that the new listings is as low as it was during 2020 when there was a pandemic. You can see that the listings have dropped quite a bit since last year, indicating that there's probably going to be some sort of price increase. Now that sales did slow down, yes, but probably not enough to offset the lack of new listings. So with that being said, months of supply clearly trending down, tight market regardless. This whole city is experiencing that in every single property type. We did not have as much months of supply as we did last year in 2022 or even 2021. I would imagine we're going to see an increase in months of supply just based off of this new inventory level, but I just don't see pricing decreasing that much because there are still quadrants that are increasing. It's the Northwest and the West that actually did not. So when we start to look at this is the months of supply, and we're only going to look at semi-detached house. Look at the inventory in Northwest Calgary. There's 3 months of supply. If you're looking for a semi-detached and you want to be in one of the most desirable quadrants in Calgary, Northwest seems to have a lot of product right now. You can see that City Center is over 2 months, with Calgary West also being above 1.5. So for my semi-detached buyers out there, investors, maybe the Northwest is a half decent place to look right now because there's so much inventory. So this chart here is the benchmark price. This is just an indicator of what you would potentially get if you were to look at each individual quadrant. You can see that semi-detached in city centers over 8. You can see that the West is over 7, and the Northwest is actually under 6. So let's go to look at these attributes and see what you would get. So let's look at Northwest and city center as an example. Northwest, for that price point that we just looked at, under 600,000, you would get a 4-bedroom total, 3 up, 1 down. You would get 2 full bath, 1 half bath, 1,300 square foot, built in 94, right? But if you look at the city center, who had over 800,000, the benchmark attributes for that is actually a same 4-bedroom, 3 up, 1 down. You get 3 full bathrooms, 1 half bath, so you get an extra bath. It's larger, it's 1,600 square foot, and it's built in 2012. So clearly, those attributes are a little bit more favorable to support that higher price point in the city center. So when you are looking at benchmark price, just make sure that you're cross-referencing that with stuff like this to make sure that you just have a general understanding of what things are available in each individual quadrant. Now, homeowners out there, what's going on with price increasing? You can see that just like every other quadrant, the East and the Northeast have seen the biggest increases, and everything else is still at 10% year over year, which is still a massive increase. Where does that make a difference? I am a partner with the AI software here. If you are looking for a home evaluation, put it into the software. I promise I'm easy to talk to. If you're not looking to sell, that's totally fine. Put it in, just see what your home evaluation is. It's an instant home value. It's a quick email. It's a cool service. I think it's really interesting. It allows me an opportunity to help you out if you want it. If you don't want it, that's fine. Let's set you up on a monthly, quarterly, and annually update just to have a general idea of what your equity is looking like in that property as the market continues to shift. So let's look at this now. So this is interesting because remember we talked about the West and the Northwest at the beginning. So a couple of things to unpack here. Look at the Northwest sales to new listing ratio. It was only 30%. There was only 8 sales with 26 new listings. Okay, so obviously they're smaller numbers, so these percentages are going to change rapidly, right? If you had 9 sales compared to 26, it's probably gonna jump up to about 35%. So these numbers will fluctuate quite fast. You look at West, it only had 57% with 11 sales and 19 new listings. But then you look at the East, it had 144%, 13 sales, 9 new listings. Cool, that's interesting to know. You can start to see some of the price points here. So West is at 592, and then you can see that City Center, which we compared to earlier with the benchmark attributes, is 854. But we actually looked at the differences between those attributes. There's a couple negatives in here, right? We've got City Center that's dropped, Northwest that's dropped, as well as East has dropped. Now I'm going to remove this now, and you can see some of the red lines there. West Calgary, just like detached property, has seen a decrease of $12,000, which is pretty large. $12,000 in 1 month is quite a big decrease, okay? City Center saw 35, Northwest also saw 45, and then you've got East that also dropped $1,500. All 4 of those combined over the average has actually dropped the entire number down by $1,900. So compared to single family, I would imagine that this could be more or less a start to a stabilization in price point. Unlike single family homes where we saw a lot more increasing in every other quadrant minus West Calgary, this is a little bit more supportive of seeing multiple quadrants seeing decreases across the city. So pretty wild stuff. Now, where's the market going to go, right? I would have to imagine, and this is just an assumption, that we are going to see a slowdown in price based off of the inventory that we saw the increase, the months of supply in Northwest, as well as West seeing a decrease. I don't think we're going to see any major declines in price, but we're probably going to see a flattening, right? Yes, so we might see a plus minus $1,000, $2,000 going in both directions, but I don't think the increases are going to be as dramatic as they will be in the townhouse market and the apartment market. So if you have $500,000-$600,000 to spend, and this and the single family home market is just a little bit too competitive for you, start looking at semi-detached, right? It's a very good entry place into the real estate market. You can get into some desirable neighborhoods for a half decent price, and there seems to be a lot of inventory there. So if you have any questions, book a Zoom call with me. I promise I'm easy to talk to, and I can guide you in the right direction. There's a lot of information that needs to be digested and explained properly. Don't just get set up on automated emails. Do your research. Look at different quadrants, look at different areas of town, and figure out what the best possible position for you to be in. If you're a seller in Northwest or West Calgary, start looking at those CMAs, start seeing at what product has been sitting on the market for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and make sure that you're going to be competitive compared to those properties. That's kind of my very fast advice. So if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.